Right. Okay, so this is a free crystalline consciousness technique healing session, and it's also available as the replay. Whoever wants to receive, just watching it and tuning in, you're going to receive the energy healing as well. And so you want to get really clear on what it is that you're wanting to bring into your life. Like, what is it that you're healing? What is it that you're wanting to manifest? Uh, and it can be anything. It could be healing a relationship. It could be something as simple as attracting more abundance into your life, or releasing fear and overwhelm, things like that. So you want to focus on what it is that you want rather than on what you don't want. Um, so yeah, and then so in the meditation, I have my cards here, my crystal vibration universal needs cards, and I'm going to anchor in. Everybody's going to anchor in their own intentions, but I'm also going to anchor in positive geometric configuration, which basically is when you combine these words, these crystal vibration universal needs, then those words together create like this beautiful uh, how do I want to say, it's like a mandala, it's like when Dr. Masaru Emoto was photographing the words, the not the words, the water crystals, when they were exposed to certain words, they had different shapes, right? So when we're anchoring in these positive geometric configurations, which are simply these high vibrational words, it has a resonance that's going to be anchored into your energy body to support you. And so I'm just going to pull 3 cards now to see what those are going to be for tonight. So we have celebration, how appropriate, empowerment, and autonomy. Autonomy, standing on your own 2 feet. Okay. And then if we have time afterwards, I'm happy to do like a quick energy reading. Okay. Any questions before I start?
No, but I might lay down.
Okay, perfect. Ulrika, I know that you're familiar with it. Heather, you know how this goes. All right, so I'm going to start by setting up individual and group crystal and energy fields. So I asked to place the vibration of opening in your individual crystalline energy field and our crystalline group field. I asked to place the vibration of the healing chambers in appropriate order for this BCT session in your individual crystalline energy field and our crystalline group field. I ask to place the vibration of your intentions and the intentions for this session in your individual crystalline energy field and our crystalline group field. I ask to place the vibration of the 23 crystal vibrations, 11 universal needs, and mastery in your individual crystalline energy field and our crystalline group field. And I ask that you connect to the crystalline grids of the planet. And I ask that you connect to and through the crystalline energy field. All right, so placing one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly button. I invoke opening. And now moving your hands down, one above the belly button and the other hand below. Stephanie, we're right in the middle of the meditation. So go ahead and place one hand above your belly button and one hand below. Okay, now place one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly button. I invoke a creation healing chamber. And now move your hands down. Place one hand above the belly button and the other hand below the belly button. And now moving your hands back up, one on your heart, one on your belly button. I ask to anchor in the following intention as stated, this CCT healing session. I ask to anchor in a positive geometric configuration of celebration, autonomy, and empowerment. And I asked to anchor in each individual's intentions. So now you can go ahead and state your intentions, making sure you're focusing on what it is that you want in your life at this time. And now take both hands and place them both one on top of the other over the belly button. I invoke mastery. As it is intended in the new earth energies, so it is. So just allow that to integrate, assimilate. And now, over the next few days, even weeks, you'll just want to track your intention and notice what's starting to shift and change in your life. And also know that if things come up, either, might be an emotion or it might show up as some chaos in your life, just know like, okay, things are shifting and changing. My energy body's making space for this new intention to anchor in. Things are reordering and reorganizing. My job right now is just to observe, be in a detached observer mode, notice it, and then let it go. And then eventually, at some point, you'll get to a place of mastery where it's just like it's embodied, like your intention is embodied within yourself, and it feels complete. And the way that you know that is oftentimes for me, I'll know if I've reached a place of mastery with a certain intention is when I notice that maybe perhaps I don't have the same triggers or the same beliefs, negative beliefs don't have the same hold on me as they used to, things like that. Um, and since it's just the three of you, if you guys want, I'm happy to do some free energy readings, quick energy readings for this evening. If you have a question or you just want a general reading, let me know. Whoever wants to go first can just unmute.
Yeah.
Okay, Ulrika, we'll do you first.
Yeah, I'm happy with just the general.
General, okay. And then Stephanie will do you next. Right. So I work with the Crystal Vibration Universal Needs deck. It helps me. What's coming up for you? So I have service for you and rest. So resting in service. That's kind of what that I'm seeing. It's almost like this feeling of the rest piece is like for you to know that just by simply being in service, like that's enough. It's as simple as being in service. So whatever it is that you are wanting to create and bring into your life, to just simply rest in that stance of like, I'm here to serve. There's nothing more that I need to do or to figure out. Just by being in service, I'm attracting that which I want to me. So it's not about, and it's, you want to make sure you're not overdoing, over serving. So when we're serving in the right way, it just feels more nourishing, right? When we're over serving and over giving, that's when we start to feel drained. We start to overextend. People sometimes, when they think of service, it's like, oh, I just have to give and give and give and give and give. It's not about that. It's really like, for me, it just like, I just have this sense of you like, okay, just leaning back, being open, serving from a relaxed state of mind and a relaxed sense of being, if that makes sense, right? Effortless.
Yeah, I haven't had a lot of work in the past 4 weeks. and I want to be more of service or whatever, but then you're kind of in a hard space too if you're not making enough money.
Right. Yes.
You know, then you can't really relax into your resting.
Right. Yeah. So when when that trigger comes, when it's like, oh my gosh, I gotta make money right now, it makes it harder. Um, that's my sense. Yeah, there is the doing aspect of like, okay, if I just, put myself out there and I'm wanting more clients, or I'm wanting more sales, or whatever it is. Um, if it comes from, there's a fine line, right? There's a fine line from acting out of fear and worry versus coming from an inspired place that's magnetizing. So I would just suggest that you really tap into the that upliftment, like, to even just to ask the question, like, okay, well, how, like, if you're saying like, okay, I don't have enough to do, well, how can I be in more service? How can I um, do more in a way that's not going to burn me out? Like, you'll get burned out if it's like tense, right? Like, oh my gosh, I have to make this happen, and there's this pushing and like this hustle, and you know so I would just say that, if there is a big push, if you do have to be in that space where like, okay, I gotta like do this big push, then make sure you're resting. Make sure you're taking a break to kind of fill up, at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right, Stephanie, welcome. Nice to meet
Thank you. Nice to meet you too.
Yeah. You want a general reading? Do you have a specific question?
General's good, please.
Okay. So harmony is the first word. And love. That's really nice. I'm just going to tune in. I'm curious for you, like when those words are said, harmony and love, like, does it bring up anything for you?
That I really want harmony because things are really chaotic right now.
Things are really hectic right now?
Yeah, chaotic.
Oh, chaotic. Yeah. So it was interesting because like as I was tuning into this, I'm like, oh, harmony and love, like that sounds really lovely. But I was also hearing like if you're like, love is the harmonizer. If you're wanting things to be harmonious, like tune into love. Like um and it's interesting because I was reading this story earlier today about it was like this little story about a monk, a student and a monk, and the monk said like, okay, you've got your teaspoon of salt, now put it in the glass of water, stir it, and then drink it, tell me how it tastes, right? And the student's like, oh, well, it's really bitter, tastes terrible, right? Obviously it would. Then the monk says, okay, now take that same teaspoon of salt and put it in that big lake over there, a big body of water, whatever it was. So he does, he puts the spoon in the water, and the monk says, okay, now take a drink from the water. It's like, how does it taste? Oh, it tastes sweet, tastes fine, tastes normal, right? And so when you think of love, like love is this big, like if you can expand yourself to be able to hold more, it's like that chaos or whatever it is can feel less painful or less disruptive or less, you know what I mean? Like have less of a sting to it. Um, and so like for me, like I would I would advise like if you can imagine expanding yourself to know like okay, I can hold all of this. You know, if there's a lot of chaos, a lot of things going on, okay, I can expand to hold all this and also trust that the universe is holding all of this and letting go of the rest of knowing like okay, I'm doing the best that I can, right? So loving yourself through the process, um, trusting the process. Yeah. So even though you might not know like what the outcome is going to be or everything is where it's all going, right? Or you don't know if you're going to reach the goal or whatever the intended outcome is or where it is you want to be. And by the way, a lot of people are in the same space right now, big time, right?
Yeah.
And because everything's changing right now in our world, like just on the macro level. I mean, I'm just seeing it all over. Like people's lives are just in chaos. Like, I mean, just I can think of the few friends that I know. I'm like, well, their life's in chaos, and they're in chaos, and they're in chaos. There's all this stuff going on, and where we get tripped up is where we're like, well, what's going to happen next? It's like, well, shit, where's that going to go, and how are we going to make this happen? And it's like you're to try to figure out all the steps all at once. It's just like, okay, I just know this needs to happen. I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to see what happens next. And even though there's this unknown, it's like if you can shift out of being worried about it or concerned or stressed out, to just to be more almost like curious about, well, I wonder how God's going to work with this situation. Like I wonder how the universe is going to bring things together here, because there's always because we're in this co-creative act with everything that's around us all the time, and we're not supposed to know all the answers. And so it really is about being open to the process. And if you can hold an affirmation, I would say things are always turning out the best for me, right? Like my highest good, my highest intention, it's all, my life is always working out for me. How does that feel?
It feels spot on. Spot on.
Okay, good. And and the other thing, the other tip that I tell people, and I use this for myself too, when things really do feel really chaotic and rocky and unknown and uncertain, is to just imagine that you've got this earth chakra that's below your feet. So not just the root chakra, but literally like in the earth, like 2 feet into the earth, that the earth has your back, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just leaning into that trust of like whatever's going on out here, like I'm okay, earth's got me, I'm held, right?
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Heather.
You always have wonderful guidance to share, so I'm going to let you run with it.
Right.
Thank you. Always an extra treat.
Yeah, we're done.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Heather. We got 2 cards. So appreciation and contribution. So what I'm getting is like when, and this is in general, this is for everyone, is that when we really appreciate what we have, then there's more that we can contribute, right? So for example, if I didn't appreciate the fact that I have this background in Waldorf education and, you know, whatever, like all the skills that I have, if I had no appreciation for them and no appreciation for my training, et cetera, and I went to go teach, you know, at a school or whatever, like it's going to lessen my contribution. Does that make sense? It's like if I don't appreciate the skills that I have, if I don't appreciate my own gifts, they're just not going to shine. Like people aren't going to receive them as much, right? You're going to dim your light. So for you, like appreciating, you know, it's a very human thing to knock ourselves down, right? The inner critic that just, it's always there in some form or another, right? And so we really have to kind of practice to just like, you know, I hear you and I'm putting you on this shelf. I hear you, but I don't need to listen to you. And, you know, I'm a badass or whatever, you know, like I I appreciate my qualities of deep listening. I appreciate that I have a loving heart. I appreciate um, whatever it is, my creativity. And so when you appreciate those things about yourself, it's going to be like the contribution then becomes effortless, right? It's like, of course, right? I mean, imagine if you were like holding a dinner and you didn't appreciate the food that you prepared and you set it out in front of your guests, they're just going to be like, what's this? You know, like there's going to be a vibe that doesn't, they're not going to, you know, like, and it's not going to feel good to you to serve the food, right? If you didn't really appreciate what it was that you prepared, like, oh, you know, here's some cereal, whatever, you know, like, but if you're really,
Makes it all uncomfortable.
makes it uncomfortable, it doesn't, you're like, here's some food.
Yeah.
It's something that you really appreciate. You're like, oh, I really like, oh, isn't this beautiful? I like made this dish and this, and oh, it just looks so good and yummy. Oh, I just appreciate the farmer that grew the food, and I appreciate that I've got this beautiful kitchen to cook it in, and I appreciate that these guests are going to come and sit at this table. And so then when you go to contribute, it's like, oh, it feels good. It's effortless. It just, you know, it just flows. And then people are just like, they receive it, right? It's yummy. It's good. It's like, yes, give me more, you know? Yeah.
That makes sense. I appreciate when I have more, especially the gifts I have with what I'm trying to pull together. Then I'm going to be more confident in putting it together to hand to people to get to that final springboard, I think, maybe.
And even to take it into another level is to appreciate whatever hardships that you've been through, right? Like, I can think of my life of many, many hardships that I know that if I hadn't been through them, I wouldn't be who I am today, and I wouldn't, I'd have less to contribute, right? So even
Foundation for a lot.
yeah, so even appreciating the hardships, the hard lessons and the challenges, because they make you stronger and widens your experience and the capacity to give back, to help others. So yeah, I hope that helps.
Yes,
It's appropriate.
thank you.
Yeah, you're so welcome. Okay. Stephanie, I know you missed out on the first part of the session, so feel free. I'll post the replay up. I'll email it out as well. It'll be in the Facebook group, and you can watch it from the beginning if you want to redo it. So then you jumped in the middle.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're so welcome. And yeah, and that's it for tonight, you guys. So thank you so much for joining and for being part of this. It's really lovely to connect. And I'll be doing another one on Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, but that one's going to be about safety specifically. I'm going to talk about safety and what that is and anchor in some powerful intentions for that, because it seems really, what's the word I'm looking for? Pertinent. I feel like a lot of people are still reeling in sort of like PTSD. It's like we're entering into fall, and it's like I feel like now since the pandemic, like fall just brings up all this fear around COVID and getting sick, and like, what's gonna happen? When's the other shoe gonna drop? Like how can we create safety for ourselves? It's not so reliant on external factors where we find safety within ourselves. So that's gonna happen on Saturday. All right. So thanks, Stephanie. Thanks, Heather. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.